Welcome to Module 6, where we're going to walk through the actual buying process for rebuilt cars. You've done your homework, you found a car that passes your inspection, and now it's time to negotiate, finance, and complete the purchase. This module will cover negotiation strategies specific to rebuilt cars, how to handle financing when traditional lenders might be hesitant, insurance considerations you need to address before you buy, and all the legal and logistical steps to complete your transaction successfully. Let's start with negotiation, because buying a rebuilt car gives you some unique advantages in this process. Negotiation strategies for rebuilt cars. Negotiating the purchase of a rebuilt car is different from negotiating for a clean title vehicle, and understanding these differences can save you significant money. First, you have more leverage because the pool of potential buyers is smaller. The seller knows that many people won't even consider a rebuilt car, so they're often more motivated to work with serious buyers. Second, you can use the vehicle's history as a negotiation point. Even if the rebuild was done professionally, the fact remains that the car was once severely damaged, and this affects its value. Third, any issues you discovered during your inspection become powerful negotiating tools. Professional inspection reports are particularly valuable here because they provide objective documentation of the vehicle's condition. Let me share how I approach these negotiations. The pricing framework. Before you start negotiating, you need to establish a realistic pricing framework based on the information you've gathered. Start with a clean title market value for an equivalent vehicle. This gives you the baseline that the seller might try to reference. Apply the appropriate rebuilt title discount. As we discussed in Module 3, this is typically 25 to 40%, but it can vary based on the specific vehicle and market conditions. Adjust for any specific issues you discovered during inspection. If the car needs new tires, minor cosmetic issues, or requires any additional work, factor these costs into your offer. Consider the quality of the rebuild work. A professional rebuild with excellent documentation might warrant paying toward the higher end of the range, while amateur work should push you toward the lower end. Let me walk through a real example. Say you're looking at a rebuilt car where equivalent clean title vehicles sell for about $25,000. A 30% rebuild discount suggests a fair price around $17,500. But your inspection revealed that the car needs new brake pads, has some minor paint imperfections. You estimate $800 to address these issues. Your opening offer might be $16,500, leaving a little room for negotiation while accounting for the needed work. Using inspection results in negotiations. Professional inspection reports are incredibly valuable during negotiations because they provide objective, third-party documentation of the vehicle's condition. If the inspection revealed issues that weren't disclosed, you have strong grounds for a price reduction. Safety-related problems should result in either significant price adjustments or your decision to walk away entirely. Even minor issues documented in an inspection report can be used to justify price reductions. The key is having professional documentation rather than just your word against the sellers. I've used inspection reports to negotiate thousands of dollars off asking prices when they revealed undisclosed issues or confirmed that the advertised repairs hadn't been completed properly. Dealing with seller objections. Sellers of rebuilt cars often have standard objections to price negotiations, and you should be prepared to address them. They might claim that the car is just like new, or you can't tell it was ever damaged. Your response should focus on market realities. Regardless of condition, rebuilt title vehicles sell for less than clean title vehicles, and this is reflected in both insurance valuations and resale markets. They might point to the money they invested in the repairs. While you can acknowledge quality work, your purchase decision should be based on current market value, not the seller's investment. They might compare their price to other rebuilt cars on the market. This is actually helpful if their price is competitive with similarly rebuilt vehicles. That's useful information, but if they're comparing it to clean title cars, that's not relevant. Financing considerations. Now, let's talk about financing because this is where a rebuilt car can get more complicated. Some traditional lenders won't finance rebuilt title vehicles at all. Others will finance them, but at higher interest rates or with more restrictive terms. The key is understanding your options before you start shopping. Credit unions are often more flexible with rebuilt car financing than banks. They typically focus more on your credit worthiness than the specific vehicle, and many treat rebuilt cars the same as clean title vehicles for financing purposes. Some online lenders specialize in financing vehicles that traditional banks won't touch. The rates might be higher, but if you need financing, these can be viable options. There's also the option of cash purchases. If you can buy the rebuilt car with cash, you eliminate financing complications entirely and might have more negotiating power with the sellers. Getting pre-approved. I strongly recommend getting pre-approved for financing before you start shopping seriously. This gives you several advantages. First, you know exactly how much you can spend, which helps you focus your search and strengthens your negotiating position. Second, you can address any financing complications before you find the car you want to buy. There's nothing worse than finding that perfectly rebuilt car only to discover you can't get financing. Third, having financing arranged gives you leverage with sellers. Cash buyers are attractive to sellers because they can close quickly and don't have to worry about financing falling through. When seeking pre-approval, be upfront about the fact that you're looking at rebuilt title vehicles. This ensures that the approval is valid for the type of car you want to buy. Insurance before you buy. Here's something many buyers overlook. You should arrange insurance before you complete the purchase, not after. Call several insurance companies and get quotes for the specific rebuilt car you're considering. Provide them with the VIN number and rebuilt title information so the quotes are accurate. Some companies charge higher premiums for rebuilt cars, while others treat them the same as clean title vehicles. Shopping around can save you significant money on insurance costs. Make sure you understand the coverage limitations. As we discussed earlier, insurance payouts for rebuilt cars are based on rebuilt values, not clean title market values. Consider whether you want comprehensive and collision coverage. Since rebuilt cars have already been significantly depreciated, you might decide that liability-only coverage makes more sense, especially for older vehicles. Legal and logistical requirements. The legal requirements for buying a rebuilt car vary by state, but here are some common elements you need to understand. Title transfer procedures are generally the same for any used car, but some states have additional requirements for rebuilt vehicles. Check with your local motor vehicle department to understand what's required in your area. Some states require additional inspections when you register a rebuilt car, even if it already has a rebuilt title from another state. Factor this potential cost and delay into your planning. Make sure you understand any disclosure requirements. Some states require sellers to provide specific information about rebuilt vehicles, and violation of these requirements can give you legal recourse if problems emerge later. Keep detailed records of your purchase. The transaction documents, inspection reports, and any seller disclosures become important if you ever need to prove what you were told about the vehicle. The paperwork process. When you're ready to complete the purchase, make sure all the paperwork is in order. The title should clearly show rebuilt status and should be properly signed by the seller. Any liens should be properly released, and the VIN on the title should match the vehicle exactly. Get a bill of sale that documents the purchase price and date. This is important for tax purposes and provides additional proof of the transaction. If the seller made any specific representations about the vehicle's condition or history, try to get these in writing. This protects you if the information turns out to be inaccurate. Make sure you have all necessary documentation for registration in your state. This might include the title, bill of sale, insurance information, and any required inspection certificates. Protecting yourself during the transaction. There are several steps you can take to protect yourself during the purchase process. If possible, meet at a safe public location for the transaction. Bank parking lots are ideal because they often have security cameras. If you're paying with cash, consider using a cashier's check instead. This provides documentation of the payment and reduces the risk of carrying large amounts of cash. Don't take possession of the vehicle until all the paperwork is completed and you verify that the title is legitimate. If something seems wrong with the documentation, don't proceed with the purchase. Take photos of the vehicle's condition at the time of purchase. This documents the condition you receive the car in, which can be important if disputes arise later. What happens if problems emerge? Despite your best efforts, problems can sometimes emerge after purchase. Here's how to handle these situations. If you discover that the seller misrepresented the vehicle's condition or history, you may have legal recourse depending on your state's laws and what documentation you have. If mechanical problems emerge shortly after purchase, review any warranties or guarantees that were provided. Some professional rebuilders offer limited warranties on their work. If you discover safety-related issues that weren't disclosed, this is potentially a serious matter that might require legal consultation. Document any problems thoroughly with photos and professional inspections. This creates the record you'll need if you decide to pursue any remedies. What's coming next? In Module 7, we're going to cover insurance and warranty considerations in much more detail. You'll learn how to get the best insurance rates for rebuilt cars, what warranty options are available, and how manufacturer warranties are affected by rebuilt status. We'll also discuss extended warranty options and whether they make sense for rebuilt vehicles. Wrap up. So to recap Module 6, successful rebuilt car purchases require understanding your negotiation advantages, arranging financing and insurance before you buy, completing proper legal requirements, and protecting yourself throughout the transaction process. Professional documentation from inspections becomes valuable leverage in negotiations. The key is being prepared and systematic in your approach to the actual purchase process. So I'll see you in the next module where we dive deeper into insurance and warranty considerations for rebuilt cars.